Welcome, my beautiful audience, to the new episode of Diversity is the Game Changer. And today I'm very happy to host my uh, probably new friend. Look at her beautiful name. Her name is Valerie, as me, and we have already discussed a little bit about our upbringing and. We actually both of us made like an ex-Soviet, but being so diversified and have experienced so many different places and countries. But I'm so happy that diversity as the game changer can really be also uniter, and particularly united for beautiful, strong ladies who can be the role models in our modern society, and of course Valerie one of them. So today the title of our episode is Beyond Surface, Reinvention, Inclusion, the Power of Diverse Minds with Valerie V. So welcome to our podcast again that dives deep into the beauty of difference and how we can embrace transformation in life's leadership and the future work. And today's guest is a force of diversify. And please welcome visionary entrepreneur, global event architect, and the powerful mind behind Kolibri Productions Group.
Thank you very much for having me and for such nice introduction.
Thank you again. It was not all, it was almost just the beginning. So Valerie has dedicated her career to helping individuals and businesses thrive through leadership, reinvention, and transformational growth. From the stages of Europe to the dunes of Middle East, she's designed world-class events and bespoke corporate retreats that use human connection, emotional intelligence, and business strategy. She's connected entrepreneurs, investors, and leaders from all over the globe, helping spark collaboration that are as profitable as they're purposeful. Her work proves that authenticity, creativity, and diversity of thoughts aren't just nice to have, they're actually essential for impact. So let's dive deeply into Valerie's journey and first of all explore her childhood, the blueprint of reinvention. So, Valerie, your journey as a leader and entrepreneur is deeply human, transformative, and diverse, as I have already mentioned. But let's start from your roots. What was your childhood like, and how do you see it could influence the lady and leader you have become today? Thank you.
Wow, what a question. Because like when we go to childhood, and I have also a background of psychologist, and very often we go like dig deeper when people want to work on something. But like talking about my childhood, as I mentioned, I'm Korean, but I was born in Kazakhstan and Central Asia, a beautiful part of this world, with lots of warmth. And I kind of, I think, like a sponge, was really like taking into the culture, like hospitality, um, connections. Of course, every part of the world, every country has its pros, has its cons. We know all of that. But I think the thing is, I never really felt like I belong to one particular country, because of course, even though you are born somewhere but you have a different nationality, there is always like questions. There is always, sometimes I heard like people were telling, go back to your careers, things like that, right? So it's not like really the your motherhood. I was never like feeling I belonged there fully, even though I have amazing friends. I still have some connections, but at the same time, when you go to Korea, you're also a stranger. So for quite a long period of time, maybe most of my life so far, I have been living with this feeling like, wow, where I'm actually belong to. Like I'm a stranger everywhere. And I lived in Korea, I lived in the Middle East, I lived in like Europe, like Germany, now in Poland. And all the time in different languages, this word stranger, or like, Ausländer in German, or Cudzoziemiec in Polish, that was always coming up, until I made peace with this and started to embrace it, because it became one of my, let's say, competitive advantage in terms of understanding cultures, seeing people not as like, oh, where you come from, but more like who you are as a human being, as a personality. And I think it naturally became part of the business as well. Like, I'm based in here, but we're building bridge between West and East, literally, with our projects nowadays. And all this blend of cultures became kind of very natural. So I'm feeling really good communicating every single day with people from different countries. Even now, right? You were born in post-Soviet Union space, but you are in Norway. It's also a blend of mindsets. So I really love this, you know, meet people who are open-minded, who are multicultural, and really like open to discover and learn more, having this curiosity to understand, like, you know, there's more than just this label. You know, people love labels. So I think this kind of childhood living among different cultures, different people shaped me nowadays.
Thank you so much for your insightful path and answer about that. I can totally relate uh, to all the dilemmas of being stranger almost with imposter syndrome, but maybe not very first years of my life, though I always wanted also to understand um, how to develop more belonging, but maybe in another domain like social belonging, because I had special childhood and I was excluded during other terms because my family was not complete, and very at the very young age I experienced divorce from my parents, and a lot of stuff which, you know, when you live in this Soviet system and big block houses, so you go to the same school, the same yard, everybody's playing, so everything what's happening in your family so are heavily discussed during parents and kids, and then always it's actually mirrored to the child, right? So I wanted to escape to something new because of that. And now last 18 years probably I've been Ukrainian, Scandinavia, it's the same feeling, like, you know, it's, I'm not Scandinavian, I've never been, and actually it was never my goal. I've been always very proud Ukrainian, but also living almost half of life in another country and traveling also very intensively through all the part of the globe, right? So when you also are back in Ukraine, then also the system is changing so fast and rapidly. They also, you feel you don't belong anymore,
Yeah.
like you, and then you have to find peace with this circumstance, like yourself, right? And then other to try to find even more um, evidence that you're stranger everywhere, or actually it turn it into your superpower and try how actually to embrace, celebrate, and use it every day, right? So I'm so happy that you found out how to deal with that, and actually also put your focus and energy how to really transform that in your like you said, competitive advantage or superpower, and now you can thrive, I'm sure, also in all your projects and professional and personal evolving. Oh, thank you so much. And then can you take us then smoothly from your childhood and actually moving from another part of of the continents to another one, and probably a little bit about the choice of your education and how you actually became being so also successful, actually by leveraging this competitive advantage. Thank you.
Well, I think, as you mentioned, when you were born in like specific constraints, every kind of part of the world has specific scenarios. We heard very often about American Dream, while post-Soviet Union countries have their own like scenarios, and being like everyone has to be the same. So I think our parents, they have been so much in this type of mindsets, and that's what basically they were in a way teaching us, even though of course we're coming from different families and still different people have also their thoughts, but some parts of this we do inherit, I believe. So normally what considered to be normal is like, especially for women, is like, yes, you were born, you basically go kindergarten, like to school, you get specific then profession, and it should be something that considered to be socially wise prestigious.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise your family, especially like I'm coming from an Asian family with all these big gatherings, well, people like when they're talking about the kids, it should be something like an element of bragging. Sometimes I had such,
Yeah.
my daughter is here, she is studying at this university, she has this kind of career, and then of course marriage, right?
Yeah.
Find the guy, marry, have kids, and that's pretty much all. Like, what's next, right? There
Mm-hmm.
was never like things like what are your dreams, what do you want to achieve. And like for me, I'm a person who always knows what she wants. And I,
Okay.
as a child, like I was small, like 5 years, 6 years, I knew where I want to study, I knew what I want to learn. Like I wanted to be a singer. And once
Mm-hmm.
I came to my parents and said, I want to be a singer, I want to be on this stage, on this competition, and I want to move there, like in the other country, and learn it there. As my dad said, like, never, it's never going to happen. And in a way, like, instead of being a singer, I became a professional dancer, for which I actually grateful, because this was like one of my passions and one of the elements that really helped me so much in life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, I in a way lived this scenario for a while. So I graduated a business school. I had my MBA, but and I also got a job,
Mm-hmm.
prestigious one in the bank, in the Department of International Relations, and it was good, right? So you have nice benefits, you
Mm-hmm.
have this type of prestige. Parents have something to brag about. But to be honest, I was feeling miserable while being there because I
Mm-hmm.
had me and like financial world. Yes, I love to learn about money, to learn about investment, but not having a job in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in order to anyhow let myself up, I started my own business. It was, I think, I was 22. I just graduated, so it was a dance school. And I
Wow.
remember I came to my dad with my like one page like business plan with the numbers, and ask, Dad, that's what I do. I have been a dancer for a while, and I had great results. So I want to have my dance school, and first time in life, because I was like daddy's daughter in a way. He said no, go get experience, and I understand where he comes from. But I couldn't like let it go, so I found a business partner, so to say.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We actually we opened our dance school. I invited my dad to the presentation.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
quite successful because even though when you graduate, and that's also what I see what's happening, people think you know it all, but the business world is completely different from what is written in the books, especially
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. And this was like a real life example when you have to be so, you don't have funds, you don't have so like big budgets for marketing, so how you can be creative. And I think this was the best part, to be creative with the marketing and how you're going to get clients. So we became quite successful. It was has we had so many people, so many students, that we have to move to a bigger hall. So
Wow.
this was like the first taste of entrepreneurship. And of course, when I was 18, while I was still studying, I had this book, this famous book of Robert Kiyosaki,
Uh-huh.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was like so fascinated and always thinking, how can I create this passive income? Well, the thing is, I lost though my parents very early, at the age of 22. They had a car accident, and
Oh
the
no.
whole journey like started to unpack when I was 22, and you had to face not just with the grief and the realization that
Oh my God.
you just lost your family, but also with the system. And you know how it is, right? The corruption, like the
Yeah.
person who like part of this, because of whom it happened, he was never imprisoned. I dedicated 1 year to just push the process, knocking all possible doors, and it's never happened. And one day my lawyer just came and said, it's not going to happen. They paid money. So facing this reality, and then also there was like a lot of things going on that's also kind of shaped my path in a way. And also, we all go through different types of betrayals, different types of pain, different types of hardships. And at some point I felt like I need to escape this country, because it's just the reminder of
Mm-hmm.
everything what was going on. So that's how my journey began, was traveling the world, finding myself and reconnecting with my passions. That's how it led me to also being part of like national German team. So dancing was playing a big role still. So that's how I became also world champion, two-time German champion. So made my dream come true. So I think in life it's very important to understand what is your, let's say, dream life, that is coming from your soul, from heart, and not from the social constraints and this kind of mechanisms that are driving us humans to live in the matrix realms.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an incredible feeling and kind of freedom when you live your dream. So for me it was when, like, travel the world, dance the most prestigious, the best competitions, that when I lived in Kazakhstan, right, it was just a dream. And now
Mm-hmm.
being there and actually meeting all these incredible legends, train with them, learn new languages. Yes, it's not easy because, again, you're a stranger. You have to earn in a way a place where you are. It's not easy. I don't want to go into all the details and
Mm-hmm.
hardships, but I think the message is that yes, we were born with specific, should I say, like inherited programs, codes. Plus, we learned something how people are functioning like adults, our parents, mentors, whoever. But I think when you grow, you have to make up your own mind what this life is about for you. If it's struggle, it will be a struggle. Also, even in business, if you believe that you can shape something different and live from the space of abundance, that's exactly how your decisions are going to be. So I think for me, like, the biggest part of the adulthood was actually going back to this parts where I was dealing with the grief and depression and even suicidal modes,
Mm-hmm.
and to actually take this power back and pursue my passions, the career I want to do, the business I want to build, and then also make up my mind, okay, this reality is the byproduct of my belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And what is inside of this belief system? How I can change this roots in order that I get different reality. So that's what I think the path of the last years. Also, that's why I started to work a lot with women naturally, even though I never could even imagine I will work with women so much, because
Mm-hmm.
it's also connected with the fact that, investments, like some industries and business, was always like you were surrounded by men, and I was feeling like always I'm thriving while working with men. But something changed, something clicked. Also, when I became a parent of a girl, like two girls, I have two girls,
Mm-hmm.
and then realizing how women in today's world can thrive by changing the, all this belief system that was inherited. And that's, I think, now we go global with our project and this type of mindset, because I truly believe that we can have it all and have this fulfilling life. It's just about how we can change what was like what we have inherited, and that what doesn't serve us anymore.
Wow. First of all, I would like really immensely uh, thank for your profoundly deep story, and what a powerful message you've been giving to me and the listeners. On first of all, of course, I am delivering my very, very deep co-grief with you because of the loss of your parents, and I can just no, we never can imagine unless we are under this situation, of course, being just 22. And I understand you've been surrounded by your loving family. It's always, though they try to maybe protect you by knowing the best way, maybe not like unwavering support to all your dreams, but they've been like your support, your strengths around you because of maybe also culture where you grew up, and one day just the whole scenario of your life was changed. And uh, I am really admiring how you stood up, how could you find your way to break all the rules of just grieving, and then put in the whole, guilt to this accident and grief. And then we always have just two choice, or stuck in the like grief and blaming all the time, like many people I can experience, they stuck in the childhood and in trauma all the time, referencing back because I had these parents, or because I had this trauma, because I had this experience during childhood, right? And then they kind of feeling pity for themselves so many years, and kind of stuck there in prison of the loss. But you are so brave. I so much admire you, how you could go through all these adversities, all this very, very painful, I'm sure not just weeks but months, maybe years. And like you have mentioned, depression and suicidal mode, because I can relate that so much due different circumstances, but I've been there as well. And sometimes being OCD, neurodivergent, I'm still dealing with all these up and downs and depressions and dark depressions, and sometimes really hopelessness states. So I know how difficult it is. And then probably to go inside to really feel your inner voice and follow your passion like you have chosen to do, it's not that easy. It's very difficult, but it's so brave, courageous move. And you're such a great role model then for uh, first of all your two beautiful girls, and for all of us women, because I also can relate. I've been in the bank after my first education. It was totally not for me. And then I used to work in different system, also surrounded by men. It was kind of uplifting, empowering at the first stage. But now, like you said, for me also, it means much more actually to create the opportunity together with other ladies to empower, to uplift. It's everything about women collaboration, right?
Yeah.
So I'm so happy that you have also came to this point of your life, and you have so many beautiful diversified then qualities that you can push through your projects and be such a great radiant role model to give also like ripple effect, that people can look at you, and especially you being boldly, honestly sharing your story, then can also they can be inspired by you. Said, if she can, why not me? Why just not try also to find my passion, like you said, you in a dancing, or it's at the end of the day, sit sometimes still and talk to yourself, but what actually is, who actually are you in this world, right? Why you came here? What is your dreams, your aspirations? What makes you feel really butterfly at the stomach? We've never been taught that in our system, like you and me. It was like you should serve the part of the system. You are
Yeah.
nobody yourself. And also, oh my God, I'm so touched by your story. So thank you so much for sharing it. If we touch a little bit, then actually the subject of podcast diversity is the game changer, and you have already brilliantly mentioned that people we also kind of caught in labels, especially now backlash in US, and it's not allowed to use these labels or these labels, which I believe is just crazy. And I can even experience that some people after first they say yes to participate in podcast, then they just could read the name diversity is the game changer. Diversity, they were like scared to that. And then I said, okay, but anyway, it's not the case how we call it. It's labels. You can call it, especially in different languages, different also terms, right? And it's so
Mm.
many synonyms for that. But I'm talking about diversified and diversity of minds and thoughts. And at that point, in that terms, we're all different anyway. Nature has created us like that for the purpose, right? So, so my question is now just can be your free reflection about diversity and inclusion and how uh, we can, of course, still even now I believe even more important to focus on creating inclusive environments, communities, societies, especially maybe now because you know what's happening right in political situation all over the world, how
Mm.
still to embrace diversity and inclusion.
I
What
think it's like a huge right topic
Yeah,
that
it is. But if you just
humans on so many
down to
levels,
one, I don't know, you can
yeah,
freely elaborate. So yeah,
trying to fix what was broken at once, right?
yeah.
Starting from like gender inequality, nationalities wise, like there are so many layers to this, and I think it's all starts from understanding, okay, where this crisis, where this problem comes from, right? Where
Mhm,
this um, divisions. I don't think we need to go to history and dig deeper, like talking about nowadays, what can we do now. So I think the first things first, it's everything starts from ourselves. So the question is, like, companies nowadays are hiring women and they just like post it everywhere in like job offers, right? Or sometimes you see this small notes like, oh, we are very, we're for diversity and
mhm, mhm,
inclusivity, whatever they call it. And you know that, yeah, there's lots of mechanism behind that. Women still earn less. So for many companies, let's be honest, it's just saving the expenses. When it comes to hiring someone from the other parts of the world, again, the question is it just to look good, or is it really your belief system? So I
mhm,
think we need to become very honest with ourselves, first of all. What is diversity for me? What is tolerance for me? And it also starts from accepting yourself. We are, as individuals, we are very diverse in so many like levels, right?
mhm,
Diversity in our skills, diversity in our um mindset, right? What we tolerate, what we don't tolerate. So it starts from really exploration of who you are. Then it comes to interpersonal relationships, family, friends, like close people, and seeing how can you tolerate their difference from how you think, how you act,
mhm,
and what is still triggering there. And then we go to our business, when we have employees, when we build teams, what kind of people we accept inside of our ecosystem, and
mhm,
how we treat them, how we tolerate them, what we do not tolerate them. And is it based on the belief system, again, internal one, or values? So you have to be crystal clear. It's like, what is your belief system, what are your values, who you are, and then as this individual you start to kind of expand and create your own ecosystem. And then of course when you go beyond that to the world, so to say, and seeing all this political situationships, like all this economic, how it like impacts, it's completely different story. And then you start also react to all these types of like regulations changes differently. but it's all starts here. So I think my invitation would be to first of all explore yourself. What does it mean for you, the diverse? Like for me, I think it's so important to understand that we are all unique, and embracing this fact instead of like even religious wise, right? Why to fight against religions? It's just different concepts, but we're talking about the same things, just like different languages or different definitions, different interpretations based on what kind of intentions and goals organizations have. The same with the nations, right? Every single nation, like it was created the way it was created for a reason. It has its beauty. Yes, as humans, we all have dark sides, like something we had to work on, but also the beauty, what we have inherited. And I think as multicultural, we absorb a little bit of culture here and there. And when you blend it as an adult, you can actually make a choice. I take it, what I learned living there, I take it with me. For example, I really admire from Asian culture admiration to adults. We
Mm-hmm.
even have this reflection in our language. Like in English, you is you, right? But we
Yeah.
have several levels of you. Like in Korea, there is even it's extreme. It's hard to learn this language because there's completely different way how you talk with kids, with people who are the same age and who are older than you. So like embracing this and say, yeah, I love this respect to people who are older than me. In Europe, I see it's a completely different way how you can say things that is very unacceptable to say in Asia to a person who is older than you. But yes, okay, it's different. And
Mm-hmm.
you can make a choice. Should I fight against that? I mean, it doesn't make sense because I'm here like a guest, so to say, a visitor. So why should I fight against their cultures and values? Let me explore what are the benefits of me speaking with the adults like they're the same age, right? So you learn something from that, you adapt this, and then you shape it. Like let's like to answer a question. I think what is beauty in the diversity is just say what serves us nowadays in society, but also as humanity. So let's keep it. And the things that don't serve us, I will all that's connected with the judgment, with anything that doesn't propel us forward. How can we make peace with this and leave it in the past? Everything what leads to any types of conflicts based on, I don't like how you look like, speak like, your accent or whatsoever. Because excuse me, if you don't like it, maybe the question is why it triggers you. Is it my problem or is it yours? And I think now the world is open, right? In general, we can travel. In the past, it was not the case. Still, I
Mm-hmm.
think there are, of course, regions where people cannot go out from their country safely, but majority of the world is open. There is a reason for that. So there is like even marriages, the blend of cultures
Mm-hmm.
and values. Why is it happening? Isn't it just like a kind of experiment, right? When we will all sort it out based on colors or whatsoever. And now you're blending this all together and seeing, okay, how you're going to function in all this diversity. Will you fight or will you embrace? And I
Mm-hmm.
think our strength is actually remind ourselves that the race, we're humans. We're not like Korean, Russian, Ukrainian, Polish, Chinese, whatsoever. We're humans, first of all, and how we can cooperate here. And that's why I love all like the projects that has a blend of cultures where they bring people together and have a healthy conversations. Like what we do nowadays is basically bring all these entrepreneurs, people who are like progressive thinking, who are creative, together in one room and creating this room of opportunities. Or if you want to work in Europe, what kind of doors we can open for you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, coming then to the Middle East, what kind of opportunities are there for you and what you can learn from all cultures? And of course, I mean, I don't say you have to forget about where you come from and ignore the culture. No, you have to learn how to still navigate business ethics, how to build this cultural dialogue in a delicate way. Because I hear lots of stories of people losing deals just because they introduce themselves in the wrong way, and it's in a way understandable, but it also opens the doors to curiosity and knowledge, like how we can learn, how can I function there, or how can I function here, how can I speak to this type of people, how can I speak to that type of people. So at the end of the day, I think diversity is more about learning. It's all about education. And the more you educate yourself and the more open mind you have, the more opportunities to create this abundance, even for yourself, but also for people around and your business, you are able to. And not looking into this like, oh, nowadays it's a trend to be diverse company. So let me hire this bunch of people, or that bunch of people. But instead, like becoming curious, maybe we can start this type of program to educate people. Maybe we can travel and bring our employees to this part of the world and start like thinking like even a bit different. I don't know if I answered your questions. Was like
Amazing,
rambling.
amazing. I'm sitting and just trying to learn myself to take so many wise takeouts, and when I'm placing one in my head and like downloading into my brain, you already are coming with new gem, and then I'm trying to also put it together. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. And I love the takeaway that take out that diversity, we can use it as a door, opening invitational door to use it to turn on your curiosity button, how you have mentioned that, and then not to transform it into the arena how to compare whether it's better or worse, but to find the benefits in every culture, because it was for me the same dilemma when I moved to Norway. When I just tried to filter out whether it's better or worse than in my country, then there is no way. Then you cannot actually be functioning in that system, because all your energy and focus goes, and suddenly, and we people kind of program that when we compare in the beginning, we are kind of skeptical when we find something which is not good enough. It's not like automatically we try to find, oh, this is better, and I will pick up that. But when I came to the agreement with myself, like you have already underlined so beautifully, that everything should start from within, with yourself. And I have made like kind of psychological agreement with myself, if I'm not projecting to everything around me by competitive glasses, but by respect, and not compare better or worse, but just to look that it's different, and with curiosity, how this different can actually be beneficial in my life, how I can learn, maybe in this culture this is actually they came further on that or that, and I can relate so much with subordination and this respect to the elderly people. For me, it's still like I have problems when my kids, they came from school and they explain me how they were elaborating and discussing in which manner with teachers, right? And I'm still like, for me, I can't imagine going to school. We had that much amount of respect to the teacher. Teacher was like icon, like a god. How you can call just you and point with the finger? It's like for me, it's still like you can relate, right? And also, of course, in my language, also we don't have just you, like also in Norwegian they have du, and just also very short language without really polite some additional words, and like even point with the finger. So I mean, soft topics, I can relate totally when you say so many people can lose their contracts and their relationships, everything, because soft topics at the end of the day, they're hardest topics. And if you don't know, you can, I remember my second master degree, so we started cultural diversity, and then it was very nice quote that Peter Drucker was presented by one of our lecturers. It was like, uh, culture culture it strategy in the organization. Culture it's strategy for the
Mm.
breakfast. So you can put every strategy you want, but if you cannot if you didn't establish the culture, or it's different culture,
Yeah.
right, so it doesn't work with your strategy. So thank you so much for so really great insights. Last one which I wanted to ask before maybe wrapping up, it's about new type of diversity, which is very important for me because I'm a passionate advocate now for it's maybe no new type, but new maybe subject topic which is starting to be discussed a little bit more, at least in my country. When I grew up, uh, I could never put even in my head I could be elaborate that easily, and advocating for that, actually, for inclusion for people who has cognitive diversity or
Mm.
neurodiversity, because I'm OCD neurodivergent myself, and I know 30% of population now in the world, they are neurodivergent with a lot of different spectrums as
Yeah.
ADHD, OCD, like myself, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia. And again, can you believe 35%, actually, basically almost every fifth person we meet or interact, but we are speaking about the number of just identification. I mean, identified people, but can you imagine how many people in the
Mm.
continents like Africa,
Yeah.
Asia, India, they have never chance ever even to think
Just.
about service, to get diagnosis or service, or to be identified, right?
Mm.
And now, because of the stress level and the pressure we experience in daily life, so unfortunately people who suffering from um, unbalanced mental
Mm.
well-being are grown up rapidly. It's huge problem, and also which of course then impact and business outcomes and relationships, I mean, on micro level and in micro level, right? So here again, the question about tolerance, like you said, or accepting or embracing or even celebrating us to being also cognitively different, right? And still in many many cultures and contexts, it's still taboo, it's
Mm.
still stigmatization, it's still
Yeah.
shame, even to talk about that. What is your opinion um, about neurodiversity and how we can encourage people in general, and maybe entrepreneur more, to create inclusive places for people who has this cognitive di- diversity differences? Thank you.
I mean, first of all, I'm as well neurodivergent, so um, but it's interesting, right? How we humans used to think is like if it's something different,
Mm-hmm.
it's either should be questions because our ego is coming and like questioning everything and trying to protect, but also even like an immune system when something like strange something that's not usual comes in, there is like immune system tries to isolate, explore and protect, right? So this is kind of a natural way how we were built and created. Maybe there is also there is a plan why it was created this way. And I also feel like when people like different from whatever norms, I don't know who is actually was setting up these norms at the very first place,
Mm-hmm.
um, comes, and then of course people start to stigmatize, start to create some kind of misconceptions and so on. Or as you mentioned, like celebrating, I think this part of there was like two extremes, I believe. And when people
Mm-hmm.
like come together, oh, we are this different, so let's come together and be this powerful force against the whole world. I think I was kind of part of some type of thinking as well in different on different levels. but I think it's also in a way maybe type of like teenager archetype, right? When
Mm-hmm.
teenagers wants to like be different, let's like rule this world, let's break this kind of barriers. But there is also kind of a balance, something in between, going here or there, or in the middle, meaning again, we are different for a reason. And instead of just hearing, oh, this person has autism, or this person has ADHD or whatsoever, as like questioning what are your limitations, instead of thinking, oh wow, okay, so what are your uniqueness, because there are different levels of everything. So what is like valuable, what is great in this, when we talk about the workplaces, of course, instead of
Mm-hmm.
like throwing CV in the garbage, thinking like how this person can thrive, if of course it fits to the role, to the position. Okay, how we can make this culture, also you mentioned, thriving for this type of people, because they definitely can be like, for example, they are more creative than if you hire someone without neurodivergent, or I don't know, it's just an example.
Mm-hmm.
Or this person is like can be more strategic, or this person can bring this kind of value on the table. So when we focus more on what is good, what is greatness to unpack, what skills and talents and how we can integrate, but also having this kind of policy of how we can also educate other employees about this difference, but also educate these people that not everyone like you think about hundred thousands of things and it's on a norm. No, there are people who are very much focused, and they don't want to be disturbed and bombarded with your billions of ideas every single second.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, of course, it's hard. That's why people don't want to bother. They don't want to invest time and money, and instead just that's, I
Mm-hmm.
think, where this lack of diversity is coming from. But if we are really talking about diversity, so okay, how you're going to bring all these different types of people together, how they can function together in small rooms. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
some companies literally have just like a room where like lots of people, like open spaces. How do you see as a leader they are going to communicate with each other without punching each other's in faces, so to say, at some point, right? um and that's why it's like, again, we're coming to the educational part, but also thinking about, okay, how we can create a thriving culture, meaning we have this project where this talent can be positioned the
Mm-hmm.
best.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes also it's important to recognize people applying for jobs, if we're talking about the workplace, from the space of survival. And if you're constantly rejected because you have something different, you are already kind of trying to limit yourself so much just to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like create it, like make it clearly, right? Okay, I have this job position for this type of people, that type of people, that's what I'm looking for, that what I'm looking for. It's
Mm-hmm.
already getting easier also for yourself, but also for people who are applying. But in general, if we talk about like normal life, it's again, what's the problem of our like communication even now, right? We have at some capacity, and so we still speaking, let's say, the same language. We can
Mm-hmm.
understand each other, we have beautiful conversation. So it's again like embracing it in other people and embracing it in ourselves. Of course, if you need help, you need support, there are so many different types of therapies, tools, how it can help you on a daily basis. It's again, we're coming back to self-awareness. As you mentioned, a lot of people don't even know why they are struggling with something so much. Some people think that they are mentally sick, while no, they're not mentally sick. They just need a little bit of explanation and support how to navigate their mood shifts or whatever is happening in their mind. So it's self awareness, education, and basically being open to all the differences that exist in this world. Like in general, how can I be more open minded nowadays? Because without this open mindedness, it will be harder and harder to exist. especially now technology is integrated in our lives. These robots and all these mechanisms behind, it's very crucial nowadays to actually not going in the direction of numbing, but in the direction of waking up. And what we need to do nowadays is actually work on how we can wake up.
Amazing. And I love the statement. I love that this encouraging slogan, wake up, not going towards numbing. It's true. And then for me, it's automatically connected with empathy. It's so important to practice, because gratitude and open minding, like you have mentioned, and even self-awareness, it's a practice. It's like a muscle. It doesn't appear for one day or one night, right? You have to be aware, you have to practice it every single day. So I hope by raising these topics during our conversation, we can make ripple effect, that people can be awakened and go in not a numb default modus, but start questioning themselves, what can I change in myself today, just a little bit, and then every single day a little bit, because it's step by steps strategy how we can create another world, right? But we have to start from ourselves. Thank you so much. Before we just saying last wishes to our audience, I have a tradition always. I start with childhood, a little bit mixed with magic, and we always, at least for me, it's always reflection about magic and fairy tales. And as I call her, this resilient lady, which also empowers and uplifts me and helps me. This is my vice president, you see.
Nice. It's so in like connection with the my background.
Yes. So you see, the Aladdin gorgeous lamp with genie, but my beauty is very strong, resilient, not that big maybe, and it's she. And the genie inside, it's she.
Mm.
And I do believe we need more feminine energy in the world now. So and she's like a mother. She wants to cover and take care and help so many, as many as possible. Then should be a little bit selective. So three wishes, it's too many, but one wish she can grant to all of my guests. So my last question would be from my vice president. The wish that just right now comes to your beautiful soul, beautiful mind, that you would like to express. It can be anything you want towards yourself, humankind, your kids, humanity. It doesn't matter. It's just exactly what you're feeling just right now, being present here with me. Now it's three of us, you see. So
Yes. So I wish that I think in nowadays realms we all become more human, and instead of going the direction of more digitalization and all this AIzation, more in the direction of coming back to humanity, why we were created in the very first place, and connecting to our true purpose. And so basically I do wish to every single person to remember who you are, what is your purpose, because when you know who you are, you don't need to fight against the world, prove anything to anyone, and work hard to feel worthy or to be loved, to fight for being chosen. And I think when you just really remember who you are, what is your power, what is your super abilities, life becomes, as much freedom as you can get in this world. At least this is, like, I think, the key. So I wish everyone probably to find this key.
beautiful, beautiful. And wise, I'm journeying totally by all my feminine molecules and atoms. Yes, it's so true. When you really know your calling, you don't need external validation, right? Because then in the most beautiful, incredible peace with yourself. So, dear Valerie, thank you so much. It was such a great, beautiful show, conversation, really deep, and I'm so blessed that God speaks through you, or like we have already elaborated, God, not God. It doesn't matter how we call it, but the collective wisdom of universe. I hope when we interact today, and not just today, but also to send in the energy further to each other, and probably one day we can make and create more together. I hope so, really. Then we can actually help even more people. So to my beautiful audience, I'm also very grateful you're staying with us. And today it was the beautiful path we could experience from really diversified mind, which this episode reminds us diversity is not just about who we are, it's who we are together, right? But who we are together, first of all, we should really discover inside each of ourselves who we are for ourselves. So Valerie, your transformative work, life, path, wisdom, it's a great gift for all of us. So thank you so much for being with us today,
Thank you
and I
very
wish you
much for having me.
all the possible success with all your projects. I'm so happy seeing you being so aware, awakened, and then I know that you are already in that right path. So just how they call it in New York, I loved it. It's like I didn't understand when I came first time, but said, you, Valeria, you do you. I was like, what? But now I know what you mean. It's like, okay, you're the perfect as you are, your words, and so please stay as you are.
Thank you
Thank you
very much.
again for giving the most precious commodity in our world now. It's your time, attention, and full presence today. I'm sure our audience will be so inspired by your wisdom, as I am already. And I hope one day, really, I'm looking forward to meet you and create some more ripple effect together. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye, and have a nice day.